Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'm very grateful and humbled for the opportunity to participate in this debate, particularly after the outstanding contributions we have had from members across the Chamber. One theme that has emerged is the incomprehensibility of the scale of the crime that was committed. 6 million Jewish human beings. The population of Scotland is 5.4 million. The scale is beyond what I think any individual can possibly compute into any meaningful experience. It is too much. But where a sense of empathy and understanding can emerge is in considering some of the individual accounts. Take one, very small, but for me, profound. Viktor Frankl, in his memoir of the Holocaust, Man's Search for Meaning, describes the experience of having been admitted into a camp, of being forced to undress. And prior to having his hair, along with other prisoners, shaved, they were ordered to hand over any medals, any jewellery that he had in possession. And one new inmate asked another inmate who was supervising, can I keep this medal? And the inmate supervising laughed, because clearly this new inmate hadn't realised where they had arrived. And Mr. Frankl had to give over his wedding ring. And I thought about that. Imagine being rounded up, taken, transported, separated from your partner, your loved one, and forced to hand over your wedding ring, never to see it again. That complete dehumanization that occurs, which is amplified because having taken your clothes, having taken your jewellery, they then take your hair, and then they take your name and replace it with a number. It's these small stories which bring to life the horror of what occurred in Europe between 1939 and 1945. Another very simple example is a task given to the Sonderkommando. Those were the Jewish prisoners charged with working in the crematoria, and the elaborate ruse and deception that they had to participate in. Before entering the gas chamber, the prisoners were instructed to tie their shoelaces together so that they could be retrieved easily once they had had their shower. To imagine what that must have been like to participate in that behaviour, that false reassurance, the sheer inhumanity of it. I find these very small accounts and stories can often be far more profound and more powerful than attempting the seemingly impossible task of trying to contemplate the sheer scale of the crime that was perpetrated against the Jewish people, against Gypsies, Romas, the LGBT community, political dissidents, and many others. Presiding Officer, the theme of the Holocaust Memorial Day 2020 is Stand Together. But there's also another theme emerging, that of a renewed urgency among survivors of the Holocaust to communicate the lessons of the Holocaust. To acknowledge, to reflect, to remember is not enough. We must learn. And we must learn in the deepest and most profound sense of the word. That learning cannot be limited to only understanding the Holocaust as an historical event. It has to be more than demonstrating an understanding of the causes of the Holocaust. The learning required needs to be like an inoculation, or of the visceral or reflexive kind we develop as a child in response to danger. And with that, an awareness, an alertness, and a sensitivity to the trends and behaviours that are analogous to those that preceded the Holocaust. This has to start with each of us as individuals, in our own thoughts, in our own hearts and how we treat each other. In this Parliament, we have our disagreements, we have our disputes, but we stand together. We stand united. And we must always reaffirm those values. And we must always reaffirm our fundamental shared humanity. To cultivate a passion to understand and to learn from each other. To cherish each relationship we have. To understand and respect our differences. And to celebrate that which unites us in our common humanity. Our ability to reason and our capacity to love each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Locker.